Okay, moving on to practice test question 4A. So 4A, section 4, 4A, says list the name of income of customers who earn more than $150,000. So we want the full name and their income. I can just copy and paste that. And then you got to watch out the way this particular question is written out. We want to make sure to have that extra line that says order by. Alright, so we're going to select, we'll grab that first name from our previous question, first name, last name into a full name, and their income from customer. And then we want to get where their income is higher than 150,000. One thing is if you try to put commas in numbers, it won't work. You have to make sure you have no commas there because commas are considered important to the syntax and they separate things. So if you put a comma somewhere, it might get a little difficult for SQL to understand what you're saying. So yeah, when you're putting numbers, literal numbers, first of all, you don't need the quotes around them. That makes them into a string, and while in this case, in many cases, it won't cause any issues, some of the time it will, so you don't want to get in that habit. If you're putting in a literal number, don't use string delimiters, which are these little single quotes here, which makes sense when you're making a column label, which is a string. So this is just which customers are make income higher than 150,000. And you'll see that I've copied in the first 8 rows. So we have Eaton, York, Pearl, Gallagher, and so on. I don't have those first. Why? Because I missed the order by income from lowest to highest. So let's add in the order by clause, which is the last clause, regardless of what you're doing here. Order by cost income, descending. No, ascending, because we want from lowest to highest. So now we have that Eaton York, Pearl Gallagher, Ignatia Lancaster, Olga Park. You can see those are the first ones. I have 59 rows, so there's a very good chance that this is exactly what I was looking for, and it is. So 4B. Next question says, list the name and income of customers who earn less than and order from lowest to highest. So we're not changing the ordering. And the only thing we're doing now, it's essentially the same query. Just like we had in previous examples, the same query just changed up a little bit. Now we want them having less than 175,000. Now if we have a look at our results, it says order from highest to lowest instead of from lowest to highest this time. So let's change that to descending. And now I have Willow Duran, Mason Terry, Carlos Rivas. I got that right there. Numbers all match up more or less. Okay, so now we got 4C, and 4C kind of extends on that question in that we are looking for the name and income of customers who earn between and including X and Y. So there's a couple of ways we can do this. So again, we're going to do ordering from highest to lowest. I'm not going to have to change the ordering clause. The only thing I have to change here now, first let's get all of our text in there so I can remember to look at it. Okay. So here, we're going to make a minor change. So let's take this where clause down to the next line this time. And we're looking for the cost income to be greater than or equal to 150,000 and for it to be less than or equal to 175,000. So I'm sure that makes perfect sense when you read it. That's one way to do it. We could also use the more simple syntax to say between, just as we do in English, 150,000 and 175,000. And we get the same results. So in fact, if I run both those queries on top of each other, you can see that they have the exact same results. Okay, so let's move that down and out of the way because we're going to need it later. And let's look at 4D. Now 4D is a bit of a challenge. Slight bit of a challenge. All right, now we're looking at, okay, company has this thing to only contact Ontario residents who have available income. And so we're saying that the cost of income for, or sorry, cost of living for Ontario residents is a little higher than other provinces. Therefore, we have to deduct that higher amount from their income to make them fit into this 150,000 to 175,000 range. So what we do is, let's just do this first of all. Let's copy in following changes. We'll grab this and let's just do a little bit of footwork. All right. It's a little tough to read, but I'll separate it out a little bit so we can read it easier. Either way, you should have this question in your workbook as well. So the company believes that the cost of living for Ontario residents affects their available disposable income. We're going to look at it with some slight changes. Number one, we're only showing Ontario residents. So let's go up here, grab our query that we've been working on for this whole question and just adjust it a little bit. So our where should definitely say where our PROV abbreviation is equal to Ontario. So that's taking care of this part here. All right, only display Ontario residents. Using ON is okay here. That's what we've done. Now output an additional column that displays customers' disposable income. So we're going to create a new column here. We're going to output a column called disposable income. All right, and that disposable income, we're going to use that as a label. So we'll go as disposable income, and we're going to say it is considered to be 25,000 less than the actual income. So we'll get their customer income and we'll minus 25,000 from it. So we have disposable income again. Great. All right. So now what we want to do is make sure that they're in Ontario and we have to order by that amount in descending order. The neat part about an order by is that we could, if we wanted to, use this column label in place of any field name. But if you're not sure where and when you can use it, you should just get in the habit of using the whole calculation. So you can actually order by custom income minus 25,000 as a single ordering expression. Now, if we want to show only residents who have that disposable income, we're going to go and cost income minus 25,000. Again, we can put brackets around it just to make sure that we're treating it like one number. You don't have to in this case. And we're going to say between, so we can use that shorthand, 150,000 and 175,000. Now that's a shorthand way to do it. Again, you could also have, you may also, if you don't remember the between syntax, have used this here, greater than or equal to 150,000, but then you'd have to copy in this part of the expression and put it over here, less than or equal to 175,000. So that gets a little bit more difficult to read, so I like the between syntax better. And if it makes it a little bit easier on your eyes, you can always put your various where criteria on different lines. Now let's just double check that we've got all our criteria. We're going to output the previous list and we're going to add an additional column. So we've got that. We're also going to sort by that additional column. So again, we could have used the name there, but we're using the full calculation just so we don't have to get things confused from time to time. It might be a better habit for you, who knows. Now here it says tip, you can order by calculated value too, like I just showed you in the order by clause. It's not for display, there's no need to provide an as clause in this case. So some people might be tempted to type it in here, disposable, and you're going to end up with a red line there. It's because the as, the label or alias, doesn't work in the order by clause. All right, so we're going to move on to section 5 in a moment. Let me just stop the recording and I'll restart in a